what point were you building that and you're doing all your coffee and, prepare and this shop opens? Are you at any point thinking, what have I done?
Oh yeah, of course. From the start, I think even from like the weeks of leading up to it, when I realised that I've almost created something that requires a lot of attention, I've maybe expanded a bit too quickly.
Can you see Poached there? Hang on, I need to turn this around. I'm so sorry. I think if I'm holding it, you might as well see Poached. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Hello and welcome to another episode of Jill Spills, where this week we are going to be spilling the tea on entrepreneurship. Today I'm being joined by the founder of Poached, Luke Godfrey.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Luke. How are you?
I'm all good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
So today we're talking about, as I said, entrepreneurship. So you have got your own business called Poached.
Yep, I do.
That's based in Beckenham.
Yep, the original store's in Beckenham, yeah.
Okay. So you got that in Beckenham, and then you've got Bromley.
Got a store in Bromley. We did have a store in Dulwich as well, up until 2 weeks ago. We still have a store there, but it's running as a franchise, so I don't personally have that store. But
okay. And then you've obviously got Blackfriars as well.
I've got a different coffee brand called Flow Coffee, which is in Blackfriars.
So obviously you said with Flow, so we'll come back to that a little bit later. But going back to Poached, that's your little baby. That's where it all began.
That's the OG. Yeah. The OG.
So tell us how it happened. What was your inspiration? What was your vision for it? How did you make it grow to where it is today?
So originally, obviously I was working with Dad. I decided to take the leap and go into doing my own thing, which I've sort of anticipated I'll do for years before that. The shop come up, which was actually right next door to Dad's shop, so I sort of took it on, started paying the rent on it, and got to Google. Basically started Googling how to do absolutely everything, from what I would need, what equipment I would need, down to how to find builders, how to brand something, absolutely everything. So then obviously me and Dad went in there, we started doing the building work, we started ordering what we thought we needed. Might have been very incorrect, which it turns out a lot of it was. I got on eBay, I bought a coffee machine, which was cost a coffee machine, which was about 300 quid, which was not probably to the standards we needed. And then began sort of advertising, trying to get our name out there. I paid a chef to create a menu, and this menu that he created happened to be a very sort of extravagant menu, which turned out to be like the original Poached menu. But he obviously wasn't working for me, and I spoke to a couple of other business owners, and they told me the only way you're going to be able to do this menu is if you get that guy that's created it to come and work for you. Yeah. So from that, I've had to go sort of recruit this guy who, I don't know if you remember him, Jill.
Yeah.
Jorge. George. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was very helpful, very influential, but he was also a bit crazy. So, so yeah, he come on board. He was my first staff member. And sort of together, along with the help of a lot of family and friends, we opened Poached, and then there's a whole lot of story of how we got from that original point of not ever working a day in hospitality, not knowing how to make coffee, to opening the shop, all these customers coming in, me not knowing how to do anything and sort of teaching myself on the job. And then to how we got to today. So yeah, I
mean, that's quite incredible. If you for people listening to know, I mean, some people listening will know Poached because they know us. Some won't, and obviously, as I say, if you haven't, go and try it. So because it's incredible how you have not been in that industry. Yeah. And I'm not just saying it because obviously I know you very well. I mean, it's an amazing place. The food is just amazing. I mean, even till, as you can see here, we got the chili jam, which is what you make.
We create that in store, yeah.
You create that in store, which is just incredible, which you can only at the moment buy in the shops, is that right?
Yes, yeah. At the minute you can only buy in the stores, but I would, after having this conversation today, I think we might have to get it online, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's phenomenal. It's really liked. But so going back to your building to Poached, so you haven't. At what point were you building that, and you're doing all your coffee and, prepare and open this shop opens? Are you at any point thinking, what have I done?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. From the start, I think even from like the weeks of leading up to it, when I realised that I've almost created something that requires a lot of attention, and that attention being, it needed chefs to prepare all the food, not just one chef. It needed multiple chefs because the menu was so confusing, so out there. Obviously, like we say, we make our own sauce, but at the time we was making about 10 different sauces. We was creating so many different elements of each dish. Like, it was almost like a Michelin star restaurant quality food, but then into a cafe, which we've had to change a lot since then to be able to function, because our original store is like a very small premises, only seats 12 people. So to do really high quality food like that without the staff to do it's almost impossible. So we've had to scale back a lot since then, and our menu has changed, and we've adapted and sort of made it a lot simpler. Still just as good, but a lot simpler, basically. So
and obviously from that it's grown. So as we just spoke at the beginning, you've got other premises. So you've got Beckenham, and then you've got Flow in Blackfriars. So with that, so obviously, again, you've worked from not doing this industry to obviously it's got to be your thing, because it's become successful with obviously a lot of training behind it. Yeah, I've never thought fully this is my thing. Well, I've always believed in the idea of it sort of growing and expanding Poached, but it's been a lot harder than I originally thought it was. Yeah. And I think the main reason is because of going from a background of not working in hospitality. I didn't know how sort of the systems worked. I didn't know how important it was to implement systems, have staff training, because I've got this vision of what I want to do within the business. I want to grow this business to sort of, my original plan was to 10 stores. But then to get to there, you're competing with like other businesses and that have the systems in place, and I didn't know what systems needed to be in place. So I've expanded maybe without the systems that were needed, and I've maybe expanded a bit too quickly, and that's why we've had a very tough couple of years. But now we've learned on the job. I've got managers in place now. I've got a better team, a better understanding. So we're running well now, and we're ready to maybe at some point, not anytime soon, but re-expand. But who knows? So then, obviously, as you're saying, it's been quite challenging. But then, as we all know, the pandemic hit. Yeah. So obviously, it must have been quite a challenging time where you've gone from not knowing how to get into this industry. You've learned from it successfully as well, and then 2020 comes. And how long was Poached open at that point?
So the Beckenham store, at the time we had 2 stores when the pandemic hit. The Beckenham store was opened September 2017, and then the Dulwich store was opened September 2019. So Beckenham was 2.5 years old, and Dulwich was what? 6 months. 6 months. Yeah, 6 months old. Yeah.
So that's quite. I mean, it's hard for anyone, like what happened there, but that's obviously you've just got established and you've just started a new one, and then bam, COVID. Yeah. How did that affect you, and how did that affect the businesses?
So do you know what? This might be a little bit controversial, but for me, it actually helped me, because I went into having like sort of teaching myself how to run one site, and then went straight into having another site, which was Dulwich. And I was still learning how to multi-manage, how to manage different sites. So the pandemic hit and we had to close, and it actually come at a pretty good time, because it's almost meant that I could reset and sort of take a step back and understand what was going on in the business. And from that, obviously all my staff went on furlough. So I went back into that Beckenham shop. We were selling eggs. We acted as a supermarket. We diversified, acted as a supermarket whilst it was going on. And the supermarkets could not get any eggs at the time. There was a national shortage of eggs, and we still had our egg supply delivering eggs weekly. So we basically turned into a shop only selling eggs, and we was having queues and queues of people down the road. And then a few weeks later, we started doing coffee. So basically, we was known as like the coffee and egg shop, and we actually did really well during COVID, like really, really well. So yeah, it was a frustrating and weird time for a lot of people, but for me, it was for the business, it was a successful time. Yeah. So yeah.
Would you say it just went from strength to strength after that, or would you say there were still challenges after?
Still
COVID?
Challenges, 100%, because we had to readapt the business. We weren't allowed as many people inside. We had to our shops, as you know, are quite small anyway. So we had to adapt, and we had to change our seating arrangements, and we could only fit, I think, in Beckenham, whereas now we seat 12. I think at the time we could only seat 6 people, and in Dulwich we was only allowed to seat, I think, 10 people. So to try and have a running business when you're paying staff, you're paying chefs, you're paying baristas, and only be able to have that amount of people to serve, like customers to serve, it's challenging. Yeah, so that was and then 6 months later, you have to readapt and change everything back around, get more staff in, because now you're allowed to
have more people.
Yeah, have more people in. So
yeah, but as you say, in a way that it gave you time to probably learn a bit more of the business,
100%.
Having that, putting the brakes on.
Yeah, 100%. So
did you have different visions? Different vision. Back in.
Yeah, I would say a slightly different vision. I learned that everything can change overnight, which was a big part of it. And then I also learnt, or I also taught myself during that time, I started introducing, it was a thing called a Poached Bible. So what that is, it's basically all the rules for staff, showing how the business should operate and how it needs to be operated. Not that any of them listen to it, but it's good to have it. But no, it did help. So when you get a new staff member, I can now give that to them and be like, okay, this is how we run our business, just so they get a general understanding of what the business goals are, where we're trying to sort of get to, and what they should be doing on a day-to-day. We're still developing them systems now, and still trying to improve them. And I suppose it's a good way, because you can walk away from that business and do your other ones and knowing that they're doing what they should be doing. Yeah, I mean, I learnt the hard way with this one as well. So what I had Beckenham and Bromley in, I think 2020, like after COVID was 2022. And then I decided, well, me and my coffee supplier, Andy, and we have another business partner, we decided to open a shop in Blackfriars Station. That shop then turned into 2 shops because we saw 2 locations that we wanted to open. So we decided to gather all our resources together, me, Andy and Rob, who's an accountant, and basically open 2 shops on exactly the same day in central London. So this is called, these shops are called Flow Coffee. And whilst that was going on, I also found another premises in Bromley that I liked. So within the space of 6 months, I've now opened 3 stores.
This is how Luke works, guys.
So now got to 5 stores. Everything's becoming tougher. People are not spending because interest rates are going up. Everything's cost of living's going up. Gas and electricity is going up. So no one can afford anything. Businesses can't afford to sort of operate as they were. And if I'm honest, got into a bit of a financial sort of difficulty, just trying to keep everything alive. And then, unfortunately I had to close London Bridge down because it wasn't working. Luckily, Blackfriars was working, and it's sort of getting busier and busier now, which is good. And recently I decided to sell the Dulwich shop because I wanted to put my focus on the things that were working, which are and the shops that mean the most to me. So, and that is Beckenham, because Beckenham and that's where I live, Beckenham and Bromley. And that's where sort of I give my main attention. That's where I go every morning. That's where I use as an office. I just thought it made sense, rather than sort of having all my business interests scattered around everywhere. Let me just scale back. And you feel that that's a good decision because, it, as you say, it gives you more focus and more... So I'd say it's a good temporary decision. I do want to maybe relook at maybe expanding, but maybe in different ways, different areas of the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk more about that after, but say for example, I've started doing a run club in Beckenham now.
I was just about to say, you've built a really good community in Beckenham.
That's what I'm trying to do now, build communities within the locations, which I think is really important now.
Yeah, massively. So talk about the run club. This is something you've done where you get people to turn up once a week and you go with them as well, don't you? This is all your customers or whoever wants to join, right?
It's mainly our customers, So we, every Thursday morning at 7 a.m, we do a 5K. We do it at 3 different speeds, so everyone can sort of feel welcome and join in. Get back to the shop after the shop opens at 7:30, and we sort of have a little chat, have coffees, and it's like a really nice way for people to start their day, basically. We've actually had our first successful run club relationship as well.
No! Oh.
Yeah, so shout out to Luke and Sarah.
Oh my God, they met on Run Club?
They met at Run Club, yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's just a
poached wedding.
A poached wedding, yeah. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So how many people have you got roughly on your Run Club now?
Weekly. Well, in the group chat, we've got 130 people. People that...
Wow.
We probably average around... During a nice summer's day, we might have between 20 and 25 people.
Yeah.
But then we're sort of looking to start this at our Bromley store, and maybe do 10Ks, do a sort of slightly longer distance, and do that on Saturday, so more people, so it's sort of reachable for more people. Because a lot of people can't do the Thursday mornings due to sort of having work and whatever else. So.
I think that's such a great idea, because as well, you get that chance for people to have a coffee and a chat.
And it's sort of really important to me because that's what I'm interested in.
Do you think you'll do things like challenges with them? Like, we're both actually going to be doing high rocks.
We are, yeah.
You're massively into high rocks. Do you think that's something like that you could do with them eventually?
That's what, we do that already. No, we do. We last year we all signed up to the Battersea Half, and I think there was about 15 of us that did it, all ran it. This year I think they've got there's a few that we're starting to book already. I think we've got a few people booked the London Landmarks half marathon.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like you say, high rocks could be on the agenda at some point, because that's something I'm really interested in and train for. So
you just tapping into that little bit, training. Obviously, I'm into fitness. I know you're massively into fitness. Do you think that has been a massive part and has had to become a massive part of your life because of work? Do you find it as an escape? Do you 100%. Find it as like just that mental dump kind of?
Yeah, 100%. I train probably 6-7 days a week. Like the focus I get from training is unreal. Like if I stop training for 3-4 days, I don't get sort of, my mental clarity's not all there. Like I feel slower. I feel like I can't operate as fast. I feel like I can't make good decisions. But if I'm sort of training hard, I feel like it sort of puts me in a completely different mindset, a more positive mindset, helps me make better decisions for the business, basically. So for me, it's vital. Like, it's a vital part of sort of operating a business.
Is that your thinking time? Is that where your ideas come
thinking
from?
Time,
or do you just switch off?
No. So a lot of my staff have started actually training with me as well now. So I've almost turned into a PT. So yeah, it's all good though. Like I enjoy doing it. But yeah, there's a few staff members in Bromley and Beckenham that will join in on my weekly training sessions, which is good. But
do you think that's helping them as well, because they're keeping them as part of a team? So it's like a bit of that camaraderie.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, 100%. It's it's good team building exercises. Sort of, it gives us a chance to not talk about work. Whereas if I go into the shops, our main discussion is probably me nagging them about what's going on in the business. Not that they all do a really great job anyway, but it's more, how do you describe it? Like we can, I don't know.
You've got like a connection almost with your staff on a level that, I don't know, does it kind of help them understand you better as a boss, I guess?
Maybe, because they might see me as sort of a boss that sort of comes in and sort of demands things to be done, whereas on a outside of work, they might see me more as a human rather than just like a boss. So yeah.
And probably you're in a very different light as well.
Yeah.
Do they brainstorm with you? Do you get ideas from them as well, or is it kind of they just do their thing and
No. My staff are very involved in the growth of the business now. So say Bromley, for example, that is a shop that when we just opened was only doing coffee. Like I really wanted it to focus on doing specialty coffee, because the food side of the things does get very stressful. Employing chefs, there's a lot more sort of paperwork to go with kitchens, and it's also a lot more expensive to operate a kitchen. So I thought I'd open Bromley and not have the stress of that. But then we're slowly sort of introducing food, which the girls in Bromley are bringing all the ideas in for that. For example, like they're sort of reintroducing like new bagels that we're going to start doing. They're contacting the suppliers. They're making new overnight oats, new flavors. So yeah, they are very involved in the development of the business, I suppose. And the same in Beckenham. The manager there, she's helping me sort of do all like the interior design for the new shop. They're involved. They're very involved.
What is kind of your next steps with things?
So obviously, with the sale of Dulwich, the business has a little bit of more funding now, so I'm going to reinvest that into the business. So we're having a complete refit out for our Beckenham store. I'm going to fit a few more sort of seats and tables in there. Almost rebrand the menu, add a whole new lunch menu. And then I've got a few business ideas that I might go into. One of them which involves coffee, which I won't mention on here. And one of them could be sort of coffee shop consultancy. So that might be training. So say if someone wants to open a coffee shop, I can basically train them on how to do absolutely everything, whether that's to do with accounting, negotiating leases, interior design, recruiting staff training, what systems they need in place, what suppliers they should use, what machinery they'll need, everything, how to develop a business. And because that's the side of the things that I've found that I really do enjoy, but the day-to-day management I do get stressed out with.
So with you saying all of that and then saying, so obviously you've got some stuff going in the pipeline, which I'm sure you can come back on here to discuss. But you want to go into the consultancy thing. Would that be something as well for you from what you've learned? Because obviously you learned everything firsthand, as you say, like
I
from
learned
nothing.
everything the hard way, yeah.
So that's a way of guiding people how to structure it better.
Yeah.
Learning for bringing the consultancy to now, and you want to help others. So from going from you doing like not knowing anything and having to learn yourself, and obviously having help along the way, but having no idea, what mistakes back then would you help with now by advising someone not to? So
there's been hundreds of mistakes that I've obviously made during the years, but I can sort of give you a mistake on each sort of subject basically. But say what is it? So suppliers, for example, I've had to test hundreds of suppliers to get to the suppliers that I now know. Staff training, sort of not training staff as in the right sort of way that I should be. Recruiting the wrong members of staff, I now know how to sort of recruit, what to look for when recruiting. Layouts of shops, so I might have laid out sort of counters wrong, doing seats wrong, and all these things total together actually just decrease your whole sort of profits, because you're sort of might be missing out on custom, you might be sort of having a lot more wastage because you've sort of not chose the correct supplier. There's a lot more that I could sort of list off basically, but
but they're main ones. As you say, because it's helped you grow to where you're at, as I say, because of what you've achieved so far is amazing. So, it does show that sometimes you can do something that you're not necessarily trained in, I guess, or
100%.
Spent years at school or that kind of stuff. But if it's something you're driven and that was your vision, as you've said, it's the hard work along the way.
Yeah.
What are your most popular dishes in Poached? What is your kind of the one where you've noticed or was a slow burner and is now really like up there as one of your top?
So our top dishes, I think this is the dish you actually order when you come in, Jill. It's the red hot chili eggs. That's obviously what goes with our chili jam. Yep. Poached special, which is the classic. It's our twist of a fry on a fry up. And probably just your standard avocado on toast with poached eggs, but we do it with a little twist. There are 3 main dishes, I would say.
Can we talk about the pancakes?
The pancakes, yeah. You love the pancakes.
The pancakes are incredible. And you actually do, like, for Pancake Day, you have a special evening, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
And have twists on that as well.
Yeah. So every pancake, we've done it every year. We sort of have just a Pancake Day only menu where we just serve pancakes, and we open till, I think it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We're on Deliveroo, we're serving customers in store, and then we're also doing pancake DIY kits where we put our batter in sort of tubs, and along with the ingredients like the toppings that the customers can cook at home, and we also do deliveries. So yeah, we really go for it on Pancake Day. So
that's really good with the kit as well, actually. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Slipping back quickly
to,
you mentioned Deliveroo. Was that another game changer for you from starting in yourself and in Poached, and then you had the concept of like having to use Deliveroo? Has that helped massively with orders? Or
so Deliveroo, it's a hard one because I don't want it's a positive and it's also a negative for our business. So Deliveroo take quite high commission. They might not fully relay that to customers, but from a business they take very high commissions. So sometimes it can almost feel like you're doing a lot of work, but for not the pay that you should be getting. Yeah, so not a lot of people would know that. But yeah, I don't want to go into it too much. But yeah, take that as you will.
So come into the local shop near you.
Don't use Deliveroo.
Yeah. So next steps then, as you say, you're looking into consultancy.
Yep.
There's other stuff in the pipeline that obviously you don't want to talk right now, but hopefully in the future you'll come back on and tell us all about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
What would be your advice right now for someone opening a business? They come and said, actually, I want to come and talk to Luke.
Yep.
What would be the one main thing they should do first?
Depends on the business, but I think the educating yourself and learning that business from someone else, maybe someone that's sort of done what you want to do, not what other people think you should do, because you have your vision. And what I've learned over the last few years is a business is basically just one big system, and it's learning the systems, putting systems into place. That's how you have a successful business. Yeah, that'll be my top tips.
Top tips from me. Well, listen, thank you for coming today.
No worries.
Thank you for telling us all about Poached.
No problem.
And chili jam. Go and buy the chili jam. I'm going to take that one home. Is that all right?
Never
So yeah, I'd love to bring you back, and you can tell us more on your next ventures. And obviously, if people live in Beckenham, Bromley, Blackfriars, they're popping by, pop in and get a nice coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Jill.
Thanks, Luke.